Welcome back, my little subscribers. Today I'm going to share my first impressions after using the 50 to 400 over a couple of months. So this lens is interesting to me for several reasons. One, I love super telephotos. And two, this goes wider than your typical. So this one starts at 50 instead of 100 or 150, and you sacrifice about 100 to 150 at the long end. So this caps at 400. In that sense, this got me really interested because there are times when I am out and about wanting to use a telephoto and feeling like I have to carry an additional lens to capture something wider because they don't usually start at 50. So this resolved that issue and I was really happy with it. But the second thing I'm interested in is this is very light. And it is compact for what it is. This actually weighs less, or feels, I think it does weigh less than the 35 to 150 from Rokinon Samyang. This is a Tamron. So I'm not sure how much the Tamron version weighs, but I think this 50 to 400, when you put it on your camera, it doesn't feel like what it says it is, which is great because it's really light. It doesn't hurt to carry it over long period of time. It has a very damp, I think mine has a pretty dampened zoom ring. It's not too loose, not too tight. I think it's okay. It's made of the same materials you would expect coming from the 28 to 75 or the 70 to 180. Very similar feel, but it has that G2 groove style that makes it more friendly to holding it. So what are my thoughts? I've used this for several things. One is just nature, landscapes, because I live near a really great place to do that. I've taken it to the zoo. I've used it for the solar eclipse. This has a lot of uses. I think it's designed for more of the casual shooter who wants that range. I do wish the f-stops were lower, but I know that that's not possible without making a significantly larger lens. So starting at f4.5 at 50 millimeters is okay. I mean, I'm not normally shooting most of my images at 50. I am shooting most of them between 2 to 400, but it's always nice to have that wide angle, that wide capability of going wider. One thing I do like is the semi-macro capability. So between 50 and 70, you can get about half, 1 to 2, I think it is, close to that, which is a nice double use for this when I want to do product shots, reviewing watches or something, that I've been doing on my channel. But having used the Tamron 150 to 600, I think it's the 150 to 600 or 150 to 500, whatever they made for Sony, I did think the stabilization was better in that one. But that's just a beefier lens. I'm sure it probably had more components, so that probably has to do with it. Because it's so light and compact, I just don't think it has the full capabilities of what the VC can do. And maybe it'll come with an upgrade, a firmware upgrade, we don't know. But for now, I've noticed that. That's one of the gripes I have with it. I think it's well built. Like I said, it has that smooth G2 feel to it. This material does ding pretty easy, so you do have to be careful because it's not quite matted, so it is smooth, so it's easy to get a scratch on it. I think the one that's gotten the most of it is the hood, and the hood is very plasticky feeling. It is solid and it clicks well, but even before I took it out to shoot a lot, I was already getting scratches just from it being put away or being dinged on things. Here we just see like some plastic rubbing or something. I feel like they could have made a better lens hood than what we have here. But for what it is, it's okay. One of the positives is that this is a 67 millimeter filter thread, which is great. I have like 4 lenses right now that all use 67, so it's really cool to just drop all of these filters that I've invested in, not have to use any step up or step down. Actually, you would never want to step up, step down rings. And just, it's amazing that they were able to do that with something that can go out to 400. So that's neat. One of the coolest things about this lens that keeps me interested is that because of the lightweight construction, I am more willing to take this out versus when I had the 150-500 that was like this long, that had the big tripod leg. It was just heavier, and you knew that you stand out. This is close to like an f4 70-200 size. It doesn't stand out as much. It's easier to just take with you, knowing that you can get 50-400. And I think because of that, you can shoot handheld more. And I like that a lot, because even though you have the capability to put the tripod leg right here, and it does not come included, I've shot birds, I've shot animals at the zoo, I shot the eclipse, all handheld. And it was trial and error to figure out how much the VC can do for me or not, and what shutter speed I should be at minimum to reduce my ISO as much as possible. But I've only shot this handheld, and it's worked out pretty well. But even during the day, I remember a bright sunny day or some slight shade, shooting at 400 did make me push my ISO pretty high, more than I normally want to. So I was not getting as clean images as I would like. Just as an additional tip, it does depend what camera you use. I have the A7 IV and the A7S III that I wanted to test this out with. Knowing the A7S III is great with low light, I was like, okay, let's see what this can do with a high ISO. And it was great. It was fine. Not getting as much detail, obviously, because 12 megapixels, I think 12 megapixels is enough. I've shot a lot of things with this. I've actually shot weddings with 12 megapixels, and it is enough resolution. There's something about this particular lens that at 50 or at 400 at the lowest f-stop is just not quite sharp enough. I'm usually the type who will be okay with that, but because this is a telephoto and I'm going for detail, I did expect a little bit more detail and sharpness from this. And I don't know, it might be the copy I have. Maybe it isn't. But on the A7S III, I just was not getting very good sharpness out of this lens. So I said, okay, I'm going to try it out on the A7 IV. So I put it on the A7 IV, went out to shoot the cubs that had just been born at the safari park, and I will say honestly, it's a little bit better, but still, I'm still hesitant to completely say it's sharp enough, because I remember shooting the 150-500 on the A7 IV, on the A7R3, and just getting some crazy amount of detail, even when I cropped in a lot. So it has been an adjustment to decide whether I want to keep this or not because of the sharpness. Combine the lack of sharpness or less sharpness with high ISO, and I was kind of getting in that murky territory where I'm not 100% sure if this is a keeper or not. But I want to put it out there because I want to be honest. When I put it on the A7 IV, my ISO did. I had to compensate ISO just like I had done previously. It was slightly sharper, and I did get a lot of images that I liked and will want to print, but I still don't consider them to be as sharp as images I've seen and taken with the 150-500 or the 70-180. I've taken the 70-180 to the zoo, shot in APS-C crop mode with an A7R3, and got in, I think, sharper results than what I've been getting with this one at 400. So that's been a little bit disappointing. I think I need to do a little bit more tests before I decide, but that's just something for you to know, that if you're going to try this one out and you're expecting a lot of detail and sharpness because you want to zoom in and stuff, be aware of the limitations that this might have and thoroughly test it before you decide to keep it. So that's where I'm at right now. Just wanted to share my first impressions. I will make a follow-up to let you know if I end up keeping this or not. But I hope you enjoyed this video, saw my test shots. I think they're great pictures, nothing to say there, but I think it is lacking that extra sharpness for some reason. I don't know what it is, but I will try to figure it out whether it's user error or not. So, another video for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.